Hello, it's Crafty Carol here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Northern Ireland, in a beautiful part of it, the Ards Peninsula. And I just wanted to talk today about how you can use a card design and actually make a whole load of other cards with it. So this card, and you'll notice there's a little bit of a problem down here. This card was one I made at a little craft class for people who might be interested in starting to do cards. So it's their first ever class, and we made this card, and this was my example card, and unfortunately somebody dropped an ink pad on it, so it's got a bit damaged. But I wanted to show you the basis of the card. Very simple card. It's just got a couple of layers, a little bit of twine as an embellishment, some cut out, some punched out shapes, which I'll talk about, and we just made these little cards, which was great fun. And that used the Country Bouquet stamp set. I used all of these except for the Happy Birthday, which came from the Peaceful Moments stamp set, which I love. So these were the beautiful stamps we used. We didn't punch out these hearts, although you can, and it punches out. I actually used the Designer Series paper, and I gave everybody a little cutout of the piece of Designer Series paper that matches the punch. This is the punch that goes with the set, the Country Bouquet punch. Mine's getting filthy. It got very dirty last week when we did this class, but it punches out from this paper. Now, the only thing I realised once I'd cut out all the bits and made up the kit for people is that actually it's really difficult to punch out something as small as that, because it's really fiddly to get it in for people who aren't really card makers and can't be bothered to fiddle around too much. So I showed them the sticky note trick, and all you need is a piece of a sticky note, and you stick that on the back of your the image that you're going to punch out, and then you can slide it in and use the sticky paper stuck to it. Oh, if I can get it in. Use the sticky paper stuck to the image to make sure you've lined it up properly. I'm trying to do this not getting in the way of the camera, so hopefully that's lined up. So we can use this to line it up, punch it all out, and there we have easy way, nice little tip to punch out anything there where you've cut a little bit too small a piece of paper that doesn't make it easy to punch otherwise. So that's a little tip. I'll use those in a minute. So I thought about this, and I thought, well, you can make birthday cards, and I just wanted them to sort of splatter these images around, not make anything too much with them. But you can, of course, make all sorts of other cards. So let me go over the measurements first. The card base for the card is just a very simple card base. It's the usual card base. That is 21 centimetres that way by 14.8 that way, scored at 10.5 centimetres in the middle, and that folds to make your card base. I've already stamped for the one I'm just about to make now with that. The other pieces that we've got, these pieces, the sweet sorbet piece at the bottom, that's 6 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres. And all we've done with that is run it through an embossing folder. Doesn't matter what embossing folder, to be honest. This works well with all sorts of different embossing folders. So that's that piece. Then we have a crumb cake layer, and that is 8.5 centimetres by 11.5 centimetres. And finally a basic white layer, which is 7.5 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres. So those are the only bits you need. And then there's a little bit of twine. It's roughly 20 centimetres long, something like that, 20 or 30, I don't know. Good length of twine anyway, just to wrap around. And on this one I tied a bow, and I've just used a glue dot to stick it round. The one I'm going to do now, I may not do a bow because they are fiddly and I don't like to waste time on my videos. So let's have a look at the sort of things we can make. Obviously a birthday card, or what about a congratulations card? And on this one I've just tied a knot rather than done a bow, and used the hearts in a slightly different way. So that's a congratulations card. What about a sympathy card? With deepest sympathy, thinking of you with all my heart. Again, these are from the wonderful Peaceful Moments stamp set, which I think is one of the most useful sentiment sets that we actually have, because it's got all of these different sentiments and all sorts of options for sticking things inside as well, or on the front. So that's with the sympathy card. Then a thank you card, of course. Dead easy to do with hearts. Love thank you cards. I always need lots of them, so I like to make those. So that is my thank you card. And finally, why not a card for a friend who's going through a bad time? It's okay not to feel okay. My shoulder is yours, sending loving thoughts and prayers. So many different cards you can make with exactly the same layout. That hasn't stuck down. Need to hold it down a minute. Make sure it does stick. I've only just made these actually to show you. So let's make a final one. So on this one, for this one, instead of using the peaceful moments, because I've used I think most of the sentiments in that one, I thought I would use this one, the Greatest Journey set, which I'm going to do a little class and video about very soon. But that's got some lovely sentiments as well, and I thought I'd do another thank you card using the Mountains of Thanks. I can use that with a heart. Why not? I don't have to use mountains with it. And this moment is the start of something great. So I'm going to use that one. Actually, no, I think I'm going to use, what have I used? I'm so inspired by your courage. I quite liked that one. This moment is the start of something great. So courage and heart seem to go together really well. So I've already embossed the piece of sweet sorbet, and I've used for this one, I've used the painted texture embossing folder. As I say, it really doesn't matter what embossing folder you use for this card. Just got to decide which side I want as the front. And you can use whichever embossing folders you've got. You don't need to worry too much. For the other ones, I've actually used, for the class, I used the stripes from the Stripes and Splatters double set. And I've also, for these cards, used, this is the Cane Weave embossing folder. Hopefully you can see that pattern. But as I say, it really doesn't matter what embossing folder you use. So this is painted texture. So just going to emboss that, glue it, stick it to the bottom of the card. And then for your centre panel, take your basic white first. And I'm using Evening Evergreen just as my stamp pad. Again, you can use whatever colours you want. And this is I'm so inspired by your courage. So I'm just going to stamp that across the top of my piece of basic white, my layer of basic white. So that's that stamping done. Now I can stick this piece to my layer of crumb cake. So again, just a little bit of Tombow on there. Some of my fellow demonstrators are so careful when they put glue on things. I'm not. I'm really sort of just go for it because it still sticks beautifully. Doesn't matter. So that's stuck around. The only key with these cards is remember to put the twine round before you stick it to the card, because it's impossible to do afterwards, of course. So this is my length of twine. Let me actually measure it and see. Oh, I don't know. It's about 40 odds, and no, it's more than that. Probably about 60 centimetres of twine. Who knows? I'm not very good on twine. I think it's about 30 inches, whatever that is in centimetres. So all I'm going to do is wrap it round a few times. And for speed now, I am going to do a knot, because if I fiddle around trying to do a bow, I'll be here all day and you'll be bored. So I tie the two lengths together in front of the card, just like that. And then I pass one of the lengths under before I do my second knot. So just tie that in a knot now. I don't really mind where that is on the card. Obviously not right in the centre. It doesn't right in the very centre. And then you can just adjust the lengths of twine by easing them up and down the card, just so they spread out, which I prefer the look of, rather than just wound round too tight or whatever. So that's that. Spread these ones out this side. I might use my pokey tool to help me here. That's it. There we go. So spread those out on that side. That's my knot, nicely done. I can stick a glue dot behind there if I really wanted. Chop off the ends. I think I might have all of this a bit further down, actually. That's a bit nearer the bottom. That's better. Happier with that. Make sure that's tight. I'll leave my bits sticking out because I quite like that look. You can with this, this is just the basic baker's twine. Comes in a pack of 5 different colours, including this crumb cake, which I chose obviously to match my layer. And you can fray the ends a bit, which I think looks rather nice. So that is my basic panel stuck around there. So just going to stick that to my base card. Again, using just a bit of Tombow. squizzled all around. And the only thing I would say is that when you're using a bit of embossed card underneath, make sure you hold it down to stick it on. You saw with one of the other ones that it didn't stick down to there terribly well. I'm actually going over a layer here, but I didn't want to use dimensionals because it just makes it so expensive to post, because you end up paying for a large letter when it's just an ordinary card. So that annoys me a bit. So I tend to try and avoid spending too much money on the postage. I would rather spend it on the crafting stuff to make the cards, if we're absolutely honest. So there is my basic card, and then I just need to stick these on. So I'm sticking the 2 hearts on with dimensionals. So I'm going to use a little mini dimensional for the little tiny heart. And oh, that sheet's run out. Get my next sheet of the larger dimensionals for the big heart. And I actually find 1 is fine. These are only paper, so they don't need too much weight to hold. And then with the leaves, I'm just going to stick those on with a little bit of Tombow. So all that remains is, how am I going to put these out? I think I'm going to have my big heart there. My little heart can go at the top. Courage, and then a couple of leaves just aimed vaguely near the bottom of that heart, I think. A bit that way around. There. And there is my next card. So you can see how quick and simple it is to make a whole set of cards, which would actually make a nice present for somebody. Make a little box to go with these, and how nice would that be for somebody to receive? So we've got a whole range of sentiments in these. Inspired by your courage, it's okay not to be okay, with deepest sympathy, congratulations, thank you, or the happy birthday, which really I should have redone one because I can't use that now. I might stick a piece of ribbon down there, because if I stuck a piece of ribbon down, it would hide that and I could still use the card. Seems a shame to waste it. So I might actually do that. But as you can see, it's just... Sometimes you need to look at cards, perhaps copy them exactly, or play around with it. Just use different sentiments. We've got so many lovely sentiments in the Stampin' Up sets that you've got a huge choice. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and sign up on my website, craftycarolscards.co.uk, where you'll find all of the measurements and the instructions for this card. It was part of the Tech for Stampers blog hop in February 2023, so that's where you'll find it. And please do sign up for the emails, because then you'll get my email to you. I only send one a week, and it just will give you all the information about what I'm up to and what I'm doing. So thank you for joining me for now, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.